In today's episode, witness brutal clashes, a dying curse, and the legendary warriors who changed the world forever.
In 987, the Carolingian dynasty crumbled, leaving France fractured and vulnerable. Hugh Capet was crowned king of the Franks, initiating a resilient new dynasty. Yet his royal domain was tiny, confined mostly to the lands around Paris and Orleans. Powerful feudal lords ruled the vast territories beyond, ignoring the weak royal court. Hugh worked tirelessly to secure his family's hold on the crown. He crowned his son Robert associate king, establishing a vital tradition of hereditary succession. Robert the Pious took the throne next, navigating intense religious conflicts and excommunication. Feudal anarchy spread as lawless knights terrorized the French countryside. The Peace of God movement arose to protect innocent peasants and church property. Henry I succeeded his father, fighting constantly to survive against ambitious dukes.
Philip I assumed the throne in 1060, facing a rapidly changing realm. To the west, the ambitious Duke William of Normandy grew immensely powerful. In 1066, William conquered England, shifting the balance of European power forever. Now, the King of France faced a vassal who was also a rival foreign monarch. Philip utilized clever diplomacy and localized warfare to curb Norman influence. He steadily expanded the royal domain by acquiring strategic lordships and castles. Royal administration slowly improved as loyal clerks replaced untrustworthy nobles. However, Philip's controversial marriage led to a long and bitter excommunication by the Pope. Despite personal scandals, the Capetian crown grew stronger and more secure. The French people began to see the monarchy as a symbol of stability.
Louis VI, known as the Fat, became king in 1108. He spent his reign tirelessly fighting lawless robber barons around Paris. Louis personally led armies to destroy the castles of predatory lords. By securing the trade routes, he brought prosperity back to the royal domain. Abbot Suger of Saint Denis became the king's most trusted advisor and strategist. Suger helped build the intellectual and spiritual foundations of French royal authority. Meanwhile, the First Crusade unleashed a wave of religious fervor across the kingdom. French knights played a dominant role in capturing Jerusalem, elevating French prestige abroad. Near the end of his life, Louis secured a brilliant marriage for his young heir. Louis VII would marry Eleanor, the wealthy heiress of vast Aquitaine.
Louis VII ascended the throne, inheriting a vastly enlarged but unstable domain. His marriage to Eleanor of Aquitaine initially doubled the size of royal territories. Together, the royal couple joined the Second Crusade to the Holy Land. The crusade ended in disaster, strain, and bitter personal resentment between the spouses. In 1152, their marriage was annulled, fracturing the fragile unity of France. Eleanor quickly married Henry Plantagenet, who soon became the King of England. This union created the massive Angevin Empire, stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees. Louis found himself surrounded by a rival vassal far wealthier than himself. He spent decades defending his crown against the aggressive expansion of Henry Plantagenet. Despite the odds, Louis maintained the prestige of the Capetian monarchy through diplomacy.
Philip II, later called Augustus, took the crown at age 15. He possessed a brilliant mind and a ruthless determination to destroy the Angevin threat.
Philip exploited rivalries within the English royal family to weaken King Henry. When King John of England took the throne, Philip seized his opportunity. He declared John's French lands forfeit and launched a massive invasion. Normandy, Anjou, and Touraine fell swiftly to the advancing French armies. Angered, King John allied with the Holy Roman Empire to destroy Philip. The decisive clash occurred at the Battle of Bouvines in 1214. Philip's victory secured his conquests and established France as Europe's premier power. Paris became a magnificent capital, fortified with stone walls and a grand cathedral.
Louis VIII ruled briefly, successfully crushing heretical rebellions in the south. In 1226, his young son, Louis IX, inherited the kingdom. Blanche of Castile ruled as regent, fiercely defending her son's throne against rebellious barons. Louis IX grew into a deeply pious and universally respected ruler. He established royal courts of justice, ensuring fair trials for all French subjects. He banned private wars among nobles and introduced a stable royal currency. Under his reign, Paris became the intellectual and theological center of the Western world. Louis led 2 crusades to the east, driven by intense religious devotion. He died of disease in Tunis in 1270, beloved by his people. Canonized as Saint Louis, his legacy elevated the French monarchy to sacred heights. Philip III maintained the kingdom's expansion during his quiet reign. In 1285, his son, Philip IV, known as the Fair, took power. Philip the Fair was a cold, calculating monarch determined to absolute rule. He clashed bitterly with Pope Boniface VIII over the taxation of clergy. Philip's agents kidnapped the Pope, demonstrating the supremacy of royal power over Rome. Needing immense funds, Philip arrested the wealthy Knights Templar on trumped-up charges. The Templars were tortured, and their Grand Master was burned at the stake. Philip also created the Estates General, bringing assembly representation to his subjects. Before his death, the Grand Master cursed the king and his descendants. Within years, Philip's 3 sons would die without leaving male heirs. The direct Capetian line ended, sparking a dangerous battle for the crown. French nobles bypassed the daughter of Philip to crown Philip of Valois. Meanwhile, King Edward III of England claimed the French throne through his mother. This explosive dynastic dispute ignited the devastating 100 Years' War in 1337. The English army invaded, deploying a devastating weapon, the Welsh longbow. French chivalry proved useless against tactical discipline and volleys of deadly arrows. In 1346, the 2 armies met at the legendary Battle of Crécy. The French knights charged blindly into a lethal storm of English arrows. King Philip of Valois fled the field as his army suffered a catastrophic defeat. France lay exposed and deeply traumatized by the unexpected English triumph.
To compound the misery, the Black Death swept through France in 1348. The plague killed over 1/3 of the population, throwing society into chaos. In 1356, King John II was captured by the English at Poitiers. With their king imprisoned, France fell into deep economic ruin and political instability. Desperate peasants rose in a bloody rebellion known as the Jacquerie. The Dauphin, Charles, assumed control and slowly restored order to Paris. Becoming King Charles V, He avoided pitched battles with the English. He utilized guerrilla tactics to systematically reclaim lost territories. By his death, the English had been pushed back to a few coastal enclaves. France enjoyed a brief moment of recovery and hard-won peace.
The crown passed to Charles VI, who soon descended into violent madness. Rival noble factions fought a vicious civil war for control of the kingdom. King Henry V of England invaded, exploiting French division to win at Agincourt. By 1420, a humiliated France signed a treaty disinheriting the rightful Dauphin. In 1429, a peasant girl named Joan of Arc arrived at the Dauphin's court. Driven by divine visions, Joan inspired French forces to lift the siege of Orleans. She led the Dauphin to Reims, where he was crowned King Charles VII. Though Joan was captured and executed, the French momentum could not be stopped. Charles reorganized his army, utilizing state-of-the-art gunpowder artillery to batter English strongholds. At the Battle of Castillon in 1453, the French secured absolute victory, ending the war forever.